And good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us. We're continuing with more of our interviews prior to Town Meeting Day. March Town Meeting Day coming up on not far away, Tuesday, March 2nd. And we're having an interview this morning with one of the candidates for the Maple Run Unified School District Board. And let me just say at the outset, ordinarily, with the interviews I've been doing, I've done a bunch this year, a bunch in the past. Ordinarily, I'd be interviewing at the same time all the candidates running for the same contested seat. Well, just didn't happen to work out that way this time, so I'm doing separate interviews for the two candidates from St. Albans Town. And happy to have on the set one of those candidates, Katie DesLauriers Messier.
Thank you.
Katie,
Thank you for having me.
Earlier this morning, again, for the record, we're taping this on Wednesday, February 17th. I've already interviewed Katie's opponent, Jennifer Williamson, two candidates running for a 3-year term. And Katie, I probably should note in passing later today, I'll be interviewing your father, Peter DesLauriers, who's running for one of the city seats. 3 candidates, Peter DesLauriers, incumbent Nilla Ganella French, and Ryer Erickson. 3 candidates running for the 2 seats. And I think I mentioned this in a phone conversation. If you and your dad are successful, I certainly think you'd be the first father-daughter school board combination in Franklin County, if not the state. Any research on that, or probably not? Huh?
I have not, but it'd be interesting. And I look forward to working with my dad. He's a very smart man. He's been doing this for years and years. So I have nothing but some good stuff to learn from him and to kind of watch him in his ways, I guess.
That's right. Of course, Your dad, the former longtime mayor of St. Albans City. Yep. So, Katie, tell us about where did this, I know you told me your candidacy wasn't months in the planning, I guess. Not exactly, huh?
No. Nope. It actually came on pretty quickly. I had a couple people reach out and ask if I'd be willing to run. The reason I think they asked me to run was mainly because, I've had my pulse on the school system for a long time. Not only do my brothers both work, within schools. I'm a preschool teacher. My aunt's worked at school, has been a teacher at school. I have a degree in human development and family studies and a minor in early ed. So I also have 3 children that attend the school, and I work.
How old are your kids?
So I have twin 8-year-olds and a 6-year-old.
Wow.
So 3rd grade and 1st grade.
And students at SATEC, obviously.
Yes, yep, they're students at SATEC. And, I also have, 45-ish children, some 35 to 40 children that I send from Blooming Minds, which is the preschool that I teach at, that my brother, Adam DesLauriers, also owns. We send them off to these schools. So I'm interested in not only, my children, but all these children who are attending these schools. So I think the people who asked me to run just kind of knew that I had this vested interest, wider than just my lane.
Right. And again, your candidacy kind of came up just at the last minute, pretty much.
Yep. The last day to sign up for it, I got a couple calls asking if I would run. I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring. I can be honest in saying there's a lot of stuff I don't know, right? So I'm not going in here saying I know all there is to know, and I'm going in and I'm making changes. I think there's people on the school board who are really, really smart. So I'm going in there with the hopes that I can learn from them, get a better grasp on things, and do my thing eventually.
Right. The big issue for folks voting, aside from the contested school board races, the budget. Boy, this is, I guess, easily the biggest budget anybody's voting on in Franklin County for folks in this district. A nearly $62 million budget for the fiscal year starting July 1st. And I realize you're the outside observer at this point, but you'll be voting for that budget, I assume? Or?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we can do. With that money, there are so many opportunities for us to better the schools in our area. We have a lack of teachers right now, right? Statewide, we're seeing a decrease in teachers. We're seeing a decrease in support staff. We need to be able to get everybody we need in the school and we need to get them properly educated. We need to get proper trainings. I think that's a huge beginning of where we can start using some of those funds.
Right. Is St. Albans Town, is the town running into the teacher shortage? Has that been a problem, do you know, for SATEC?
You know what, I'll be honest with you, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know this year.
But generally here, it sounds like that's becoming an issue.
Correct. And you know, we have a lot of teachers coming up upon retirement, and that's, I know at City School for sure. I know SATEC has seen some teachers retiring, which is great, meaning they've been there, you know, a long time.
Yeah.
But, you know, we also have to look at, you know, the pension and the teachers' salaries, and that's all coming up. And do people want to be teachers right now? Because they're catching a lot of backlash. So what can we do within our budget to make sure that we're getting good qualified teachers and good qualified staff in there to not have the turnover that we're currently having?
All right. Yeah, for the record, I logged 3 years as a paraeducator at SATEC quite a while ago.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned an issue that I hadn't thought of, the pension issue. Carolyn Brannigan from Georgia, who ran, of course, as a Republican candidate for state treasurer, really pressed that issue. Didn't fare well in the election, losing to the popular Democratic incumbent Beth Pierce, but she made a huge issue of pensions and that issue. And actually, Beth Pierce, the state treasurer, has gotten into that issue. Is that anything you thought about? It just sounds like for for teachers, retired teachers, state employees, sounds like just there's just a huge funding gap, and that there may have to be changes in pensions in the future. Any thoughts on that issue as I happen to think of it?
I mean, yeah. So, you know, I eventually, right now I'm at Blooming Minds Preschool, so I'm a preschool teacher. Eventually, I'd like to get back into the school system. So looking at that in my own, right, like, what's that going to look like when I retire? What's that going to look like when my brother who works at St. Albans City School, what's that going to look like for him? I know a lot of teachers. I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and they're nervous. And I think rightfully so. Again, I don't know all points on it. It's coming out now. So I've done a little bit of research on it, but I would definitely, I'm willing to listen to try and to help fix the problem, but it's scary for these teachers, and we need to understand that.
It sounds like it's an issue that's maybe finally getting the attention that it just hasn't been getting for a while.
That's correct.
Certainly, I'm not sure it's the biggest issue in the campaign. It may well be, but SROs, school resource officer.
I doubt that's the biggest, but yeah, sure.
Big issue. And again, I interviewed your opponent, Jennifer Williamson, earlier, who was, I think hardly have to tell you, feels very passionately about the issue and wants funding taken away for school resource officers. I'm under the impression you see that issue very differently.
I do.
You tell me.
I do. So I guess I'm seeing it from a slightly different point of view, as I've been told. The thing with the SROs, here's the thing. I'm really willing to listen to what people have to say. I'm looking at data. I'm going through certain data sheets that are being presented to me, and I can see their point of view. I can see where it can be a problem. Now, with that being said, I also see on the larger picture how positive. I see the positive spin on the SROs. Some of the things I can touch upon, just the relationships they build with these kids. I understand that some children, my opponents are saying, are scared of the SROs, and I completely understand that. And I think we need to find a way to bridge that so that's not happening. But I also see these amazing relationships with these SROs that these kids are building, mine included. Last year when we could go into the schools, you walk in and these kids are high-fiving the SROs and, throwing up the glasses or the mustache for Mr. Langevin. And these kids have fun with them. And for the most part, I think that's such a strong way to build trust in these police officers. But my husband also works at Missisquoi Valley Union, and he is the director of student affairs. So he works very, very closely with the SRO there.
And MVU does have an SRO also.
Yep, they do. They do. And he's phenomenal with the kids. He's got some kids, they call them Kev's kids, which is a group of kids that just would otherwise, what they say, they need Kev. He's their buddy. He's their friend. They have lunch with him sometimes. He checks in with them. But, the main reason I think SROs are so important, not only are they protecting the kids in the school, or building relationships with the kids in the school, they're protecting the kids in the school. My fears, and I think about it with my own children there, which touches closer to home, but all the kids, I've seen custody issues happen down at our place, and we're a 4-classroom building. You have an irate parent come in, you have a violent parent who's upset. You have kids coming in with weapons or drugs or an active shooter, God forbid. My opponents are saying, well, we can get counselors. We can do this, which, yes, I think that's a great idea. But I also know that a counselor isn't going to be able to talk down somebody with a motive to go in and just hurt people. Do I think that they can help students? Absolutely, 100%. I think we should absolutely have counselors in our school. But I would feel more safe knowing that if something happens, I have someone there as a line of defense for the teachers, for the students, for the staff, for other parents. I mean, I just feel more safe with them there, and that's just me, and I'm willing to listen to other people.
And I guess the Maple Run Board is in fact looking into the issue. They're doing a study on this as we speak, I believe.
Yes, yeah, and it's coming down the pipeline statewide too. Okay.
Yeah, it's getting attention, of course, statewide.
It is. It really is. And as I've said, against the other side of the SROs is, they're presenting all this information, which absolutely. But you can't present information on a relationship that a police officer has with a student, or things that they have stopped, or things that just having a relationship with a police officer will stop, or the reason we don't have active shooters is because they know that there's an SRO in the building. So you can't, there's no way you can track that.
Yeah.
So, it's the catch-22, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just mentioning one parent here, but I have a woman I know had a kid at SATEC back when Roger Longfen, who you mentioned now, the Franklin County Sheriff, was the SRO.
Yep.
And she was reluctant to vote for Roger, who she liked a lot, for sheriff because she didn't want to lose him as the SRO.
I feel you.
Just taking one parent's example. But yeah, there seem like there's strong feelings on either side of this issue, but the board is giving it a look.
Well, and the problem is people say, well, that wouldn't happen here.
Yeah.
It did. It happened in Essex a few years ago.
Yeah.
So, and that was, a family from St. Albans, so I knew the family.
Local connection. In fact, I was at SATEC at that point.
Yeah. So I mean, it can happen.
Yeah.
It really can. And so, do I think that SROs need special training? Do I think we need to have the right SROs in the building?
Yeah.
Do I think that, I do. I think that there's got to be a vetted process. But I do think that they should be there. And again, I'm willing to hear other people's sides.
Yeah.
But in my heart right now, I feel like they should be there.
Right. How do you think going back a number of years when voters, I think very decisively in Fairfield, St. Albans City, and St. Albans Town, again, for the few folks who might not be aware of this, for the Maple Run Unified School District Board, again, comprising, of course, Fairfield, St. Albans City, St. Albans Town, and BFA, realizing you're an outside observer, but with an educational background, do you think the consolidation has worked reasonably well? Katie, have you got a feel for that?
I do. I think it's worked well. Of course, I'm a very, very much an outsider at this point. I can see one of my best friends teaches up at Fairfield School. Some of my other best friends have kids that go to Fairfield. My brother works at City School. I also have some great friends who work. So they all seem to be liking it. I would definitely have to hear more, on the insiders path there, but. Yeah. As far as I know, I think it's working well.
Yeah. Of course, the complaint from some folks you hear too, why do educational expenses, they keep going up with student enrollment decreasing? And again, I'm not sure, I don't have the numbers for the district. My sense is it's relatively stable numbers-wise. Have you got any sense of that?
I would think so. The only explanation I could think about, and again, I don't know, I'm just kind of throwing it out there, might be now because you're seeing a lot more, every kid is getting a form of technology. That costs money. We're having more one-on-one support staff. That costs money. So it's ever-changing times. I mean, take the price of milk, right? Everything eventually goes up. Again, I think I'd have to look more into it, but I would assume that those would have something to do with it.
Yeah, of course, the pandemic, of course, a huge issue for just about everybody on so many fronts, and a huge impact on education. Again, as someone in the field with kids, how do you think the district, as you see it, has dealt with this pandemic?
Oh.
Probably take some time to answer that question if you want.
So here's my deal.
Yeah.
Remote learning in general is hard.
Yeah.
Having 3 young kids who cannot do that themselves,
Yeah.
right? So they require a lot of support. It's hard, and it's not just hard for the parents. And I feel like sometimes people don't understand that it is so hard on these teachers.
Yeah.
And these guys are killing it, right? These teachers are doing a phenomenal job, and I can say that because I'm in it day to day. I'm not in it with 1 kid, I'm in it with 3. I'm in it with 2 children who are in the same class, but are on much different levels learning-wise. So teachers are literally going in and individualizing these learning opportunities for each child, which my 2 kids are not the only kids in that class. So I can only imagine doing that for the 18 kids in each class or the 20 kids in each class. And not only are they able to do this, they're able to turn it around. Like Monday, we had an in-person day. 3 o'clock, we find out we're remote the next day, and those teachers are ready to be remote for all of those kids. I cannot praise these teachers and these support staff enough. COVID is hard. COVID is hard on parents. It's hard on kids.
Yeah.
And I did make a statement that, nationwide, kids are falling behind. That's just, it's a fact.
I mean, with the remote learning, X number of kids just don't deal with it.
So this is the thing. There's 7 different ways of learning. There's 7 different styles. So unless your child is able to, meet that 1 style or that 2 style, that's hard. The teacher has to try and figure out a way to also bring you in. It also takes the parents helping, or the daycare provider, or the babysitter. It's really a community effort. My husband works at a school. He has to work on Wednesdays. I'm super lucky that my dad, who was a teacher for 40 plus years, is able to take my children. Now, my children have actually just blown up. They've done so well during this pandemic because I'm lucky enough to have a veteran teacher teaching my kids. Not all parents have that luxury. I'm able to still work. My husband is able to still work because my mom and dad are able to support us. So you look at it like these teachers are busting their butts and doing a darn good job. And I hope people understand how much time and effort they are putting in to making these kids.
One issue that's come up, I hear the governor being asked this occasionally at his biweekly news conferences, maybe from a teacher, or just folks saying, hey, Governor, shouldn't teachers be more on the front lines of being vaccinated? And the governor said, we're doing, mostly the age thing. So
Yeah.
and again, that's been a huge issue, as I don't have to tell you, in places in the country. Especially some of the cities, teachers just saying, hey, vaccinate us. We're not going back to the classroom before that. Sounds like that hasn't been a big issue in Vermont, but do you think teachers should have been put more on the front lines?
Well, I was just talking with a parent this morning, and I'm going to be honest, the schools, the daycares, the home daycares, the preschools, we are the hub of the community. If kids can't go to school, parents can't go to work. If parents can't go to work, they don't get paid, right? So I know that the schools are doing a great job with disinfecting, and they're not seeing a lot of spread throughout the school. However, town school had to close this week. We went fully remote because we don't have enough staff. My thought is get these teachers vaccinated so that parents can continue to do what they need to do. They can go to work. They can do what they have to do. I think getting teachers vaccinated is super important. But again, obviously I know they're doing the best they can with the state and the vaccines, but yeah, I do think teachers should.
Yeah, again, we're taping this show on Wednesday, February 17th. So were there a couple of cases at SATEC, or again, it's closed this week because of?
So Dr. Dirth had sent out a letter on Monday afternoon, just saying that we're having a snow day the following day. Not a snow day, I'm sorry, a remote day.
Okay.
And then we were going to stay remote the rest of the week. And what I got from it, it was very well written, but it was very, precise and to the point.
Yeah.
I think there was a small couple kids outbreak, but they were bus potential and classrooms. So with, every teacher that has had any contact with that kid and bus drivers and other kids, I think they just said, okay, let's get out this week. We have next week off for vacation.
Right. Yeah.
So let's try and kind of start fresh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But you feel the board, the district has handled the situation pretty well?
Again, this is new to everybody, and parents are getting really frustrated,
Yeah.
and rightfully so. But at the same time, we've got to understand that these teachers and these people are doing the best they can. This is new to everybody.
Yeah.
I think they're doing a great job. I think this is new territory, and we can only learn by doing. So, yeah, I think they're doing a great job. I think, is there some things I could say, oh, I would have done this differently? Sure,
Yeah.
but who am I, right?
Any curriculum issues, Katie? Any changes you'd like to see? Anything jumping into your mind? New programs or programs that aren't needed anymore? Anything? Any comments on that?
Again, I think that's something that we'd really have to look at. I don't know people's feelings enough on those issues. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to hear what people think about all of that. My main goal is let's get these kids back. Let's get them back and then unravel the rest of it.
Yeah. Here's some folks, or an issue that comes up, hey, kids going to college, students going to college, getting all the attention, kids who might not want to go to college, going to trades, not getting enough attention. BFA, of course, has a tech center. Do you think, especially maybe for kids not going to college, is there enough emphasis for kids to do other things besides go to college?
Well, I did the tech center at
Oh, did
BFA.
you? Huh.
I did. And I did a human development course there, and
Huh.
it was fantastic. Sal Wiggin was the teacher there for years, and I absolutely adored her. I think trades is so important, especially for kids in Vermont. I think there's so many opportunities rather. I think sometimes there's too much emphasis on, we got to make them go to college, and then they go to college and they have no idea what they want, and they get out and they're not using their degree.
Yeah.
So I think that a tech program, just to give kids that opportunity to see, oh, is this a better opportunity for me? We have, in my neighborhood, we have Jeff Belrose, who, took on his own business and just went wild with it, which is a trade that he learned. I think that's a really important issue to look at. I do.
Speaking of issues like that, I'll see stories, as I guess everybody does on occasion, about, the school year. We really need to go to, year-round schooling, that summer vacation, kids just lose too much over those 3 months. Do you buy that at all, or are you comfortable with the school year?
I think being a teacher who teaches year-round, because we do at the preschool, I think school-age kids need a break. I do. I think it's got to somewhat fall on the parents as far as, we've got to redo our kids. I get my child, my daughter who has some, who needs help with reading. Over the summer, I make sure that she's getting the support she needs. She goes to a tutor twice a week because I don't want her to lose that. But we also have to remember that family time and time with friends and time outside, those are all super important for kids' brain development. So I think that there needs to be that break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Staffing, again, realizing you're not on the board at this point anyway. You comfortable with staffing? Again, I guess, just people concerned about taxes and higher costs will say, gee, why do we need that many administrators? I guess there was a bit of a move in Vermont a while ago to try to cut down on all the union. There have been some changes, but any thoughts on that? Does staffing seem about right to you? Realizing you're not,
I don't have my finger on that yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I know my husband is an administrator. And I know that there are times when he's like, we could use 4 more.
Yeah.
And there's times when, he's like, oh, this is just right. I think that, I don't know. I mean, we would have to look at that. I'd like to see what the reasoning is, other than we're spending too much money, but these people need to say, well, what is this position doing?
Yeah.
I think maybe if we're more clear about what each position entails, then maybe that would make more sense. And I think we have the right to know what positions are doing what, and then we can look and say, okay, is that really necessary? Can we mold these two together and possibly, move things around?
Yeah.
That'd be something that I'd be interested in learning about, because I don't know. I don't know what people think about that.
Yeah. Aside from the pandemic, again, you've been in the field for a while. Significant changes? Are there changes from year to year? I guess there are changes with everything, but the educational field, do you see it as being significantly different than, say, 5 years ago, or nothing too dramatically has changed? Kind of a broad question, I realize.
Well, again, my children just entered school.
Right.
They're in 3rd grade now, so 5 years ago, it's hard to say when my kids weren't there. I know that there's a lot of difference in how much teachers can do, whether or not teachers have to go hands-on. Teachers now will not go hands-on, and they won't go hands-on because they're afraid of the repercussions, even doing it the correct way. So, again, that's where the SRO thing comes in. So I see a lot of difference there. Teachers their paths have narrowed into what they can and can't do. Whether or not that's positive or negative is up to each individual, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's been some changes since even my dad was a teacher, for sure.
Yeah. Boy, hopefully 2021 will turn out to be a much better year than last year. Have you got at least a hope that the next school year, come September, things will be close to normal, or closer, certainly? Have you got a feel for that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I hope, and maybe just I'm willing it. But I do. I think that these kids are going to be so excited once they can go back. I know when my kids get in the car and they just say, Mom, is it almost done? Is this pandemic almost done?
Right.
I'll be honest with you, I'm shocked at how well these kids, we have kids at Blooming Mines, 3, 4, and 5, wearing masks every day,
Really?
all day.
Kids probably do a lot better than their parents in some cases.
So much better than adults. They are. But yeah, I'm hoping. I think we're headed in the right direction. I really do.
Right. Down to about 30 seconds here. You want to make your case in just a couple seconds here, Katie?
I just want to say thank you to all of you who have reached out and supported me. For those of you who don't know me, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I don't know a lot, but I'm willing to learn. So there it is.
Hey, thanks for the time. And again, voters have a choice. Not always the case, but voters have a choice. In St. Albans Town, again, 2 candidates for the Maple Run Unified School District Board. Katie DesLauriers Messier, who we've spoken with, and also her opponent, Jennifer Williamson. And town meeting day not far away, March 2nd. Thanks for watching us on Northwest Access TV. We'll see you. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. See ya.